Come off on the upper Stour today to try and catch a perch. I set up my Avenger 2000 at 15 foot with a croaker avon. It's got like a pole tip float and it's around about 15 foot. We'll take off 2, 3, about sit about 11 foot. I have plumbed it. I've got a little bait dropper here that I'm going to drop some chopped worms in. I've got a little pack of dendrobenas. In the old days I used to buy match packs. I'm not so committed at the moment to worms. A few other worms and some maggots as backup, and see what happens. It should be interesting. If that fails, I've got some maggots, and I'd set up with a different rig and little hooks and all the rest of it. There's quite a few little fish topping, little chublets, dace, roach, minnows, all the way through. So there's life in there. I haven't fished up this stretch since about 2007. Came up here with John Searle. We did a bit of photography for my pole fishing book, and I caught perch that day on chopworm. But they were only about 5 or 6 ounces, so to get one over a pound would be really excellent. We shall see. The first job is to try and get a little bit of bait in there. I'm not going to put much in to start with. There's just chopped up 3 little worms. Got to try and get it in the right place. When we were doing the pole fishing book, we went up to the Thames near Oxford and had a bait dropper like this on the pole. And the first go it dropped short. It dropped only about sort of like there, about 5 yards out, instead of about 8 or 9 yards out. And up to that point I hadn't caught a single perch. And as soon as that chopped worm went in, I started to catch perch, including where there was a single dropper load. I dropped in short and caught them there as well. I was just on the edge of the float, and we're just going to hope that it's opened out. I'm just going to see that. No, it hasn't opened. These droppers are a bit funny. They can work or not. This is not going very well. Not very good at all, but I've added a number 6 shot just to try and trim it right. And I've taken off 6 inches, probably overdone it now. I've got a kingfisher now sat just in the bush up there. He's spotted the minnows. He spotted me. And he's just hanging up on the weed again. Still dragging down there. Come off 6 inches at a time. Let's put a proper worm on there. Those little bits and cast that a bit further. Try and find the flow. Close in it seems to be full of weed. at least get a chublet or something. Got to be a little perch down there somewhere. They're just sort of dragging along. Wow, this is all a bit deadly. Not very exciting at all. There's fish about, but they're just little dace and chublets, I think. I've shallowed up a huge amount. It's like there's a lot of muck on the bottom. And then, if I went under, I don't think this is I think it's a roach on a great big dendrobena. It's a reasonable little roach on a great big worm. Great big worm, took it in one go, a nice little 4-ounce roach. So I haven't blanked, but what I'm going to do with this worm is chop it into bits and see if I can catapult it onto the line I'm fishing. So maybe these 4 little bits will go out there. If yeah, it's not too bad. A nice positive bite. Around 15 years ago I fished worms quite a bit on the Stour, getting these match packs of dendrobenas, and down on Throop I chopped to about 5.5. I think I had bream down there, roach, small perch, a few better perch on the upper river, small perch, but not unusual to get roach. I don't see it as a roach bait, but they do take them. And another fish. This is different. It's going down deeper. That'll be a perch this time. Yeah, definitely more of a perch. Not very big. That was after I fed a few worms. So I think each time, if I chop up the worm and feed it in by catapult, well, I want one of a pound, and that's not very big. I'm going to repeat what I did just now. I'm going to chop up this worm and loose feed it. It's obvious perch respond fantastically to chopped worm. I think it's Richard Walker who said years ago that they had an aquarium with perch in it, and they washed some worms in a glass of water, and then they just put the water into the aquarium, even though there's no actual worm, and that was enough to trigger a response from the perch that were frantically trying to find worms. When I started this session I was quite despondent. The river's not very good, Nick. I don't know the better swims. There's a lot of skanky weed on the bottom. There are perch in here, that we do know. And it's dragging on and all sorts of muck on the bottom. There's a lot of snags down here, so even that little perch was deep in it, which is why I got the 15-foot rod. Give the extra leverage to pull a perch up out of it and try and pull it out. I wouldn't say I got heavy gear on. I got this 4-pound Justron, and I don't know what the hook length is, 0.11, 0.13, not massively heavy. It's the float sort of settles and then it goes right down, it sort of drags its way through along the bottom. But the bites are quite positive, so that's good. I don't think I cast that far enough at times. Let's get out a bit further. Just get these little bobs, and then something happens, and then they go deep. A little perch. Again, they're not big, but they're just that little bob. Lovely little perch, a few ounces. The good thing is they're responding, and once again I'm going to chop that one up, throw it in. Well, in the space of 15 minutes I've gone from totally despondent and thinking I'm completely wasting my time and working out plan B to getting a few bites and a bend in the rod, even if these fish are far short of what I'd love. I'd love to get one over a pound. Perfect, we get one over £2, but I think that's they're certainly in here. This is sort of perfect perch conditions. It's overcast, it's mild, it's October. Oh, we've got a bob there. Yeah, having a look. Although it sort of drags under, the bites are quite definite. It just gave a bob that time. Riding up and down a bit. They just had a play that time. There. Again, just the bob, and then just got to keep the rod up, and then desperately trying to get into those weeds under my feet. But they're just shoal ones at the moment. Or much of a muchness. Quite interesting, these bites. It starts off with about 3/4 of an inch of tip showing, and then it goes down to about 1/4 of an inch, and then they just give a little bob, and then if they have it, it just goes under. If they don't have it, you just get the bob and then it carries on. It's just dragging under. I don't think I cast far enough out that time. But where these little fragments are down there, we've chucked about a dozen in so far. It's set them looking, and I had 3 little perch, so that's a start. I'm disappointed I couldn't get the bait dropper to work. I've got it to work a lot in the past, and it just wouldn't release. Whether it's because the bottom is just landing in soft weed and it needs a hard gravel bottom to trigger it. Float then got lost in some bits of leaf and stuff floating down the river, and it was hard to see whether I had a bite or not. It's good to see a bit of life on the river. There's fish topping, and the birds are singing. The reflections are making it hard to see the float at times. It's reflections of the trees on the far bank, and so the bites often as a bob first, and then it just goes under and stays under. I think I'm going to give this about an hour, and then maybe switch to maggots on the hook, maybe a different rig. And it'd be interesting to see if I do pick up perch on the maggots. You sort of missed a crabtree fishing. I mean, I've got a modern rod and reel and all the rest of it. Well, some would say an ancient reel. The hooks date back to the early 80s. The float's quite a new one, but an old style. So the kingfishers go through, but fishing a worm for a perch is the very old-fashioned way of fishing, and good fun with it. And there's always a chance of a much better one. I say on Throop, I've caught some very good chub on there, and bream. On Throop, I was fishing 2 dendrobenas on a 10, really. The perch I caught then down there, they were never very big. I caught bigger perch on like a bleak or something, but not on the... This one has not gone deep, unlike the rest of them. Yeah, not terribly big, but they're all right. They've all been about like that. Yeah, sit still. What I think I'm going to do is give it another 10 minutes and set up with maggots. I'm not sure what, set up my Allerton rod. And that the float went straight under. Another perch kiddo. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes. Fighting harder than the others. A little bit bigger. Like another size up. More like 8 ounces instead of 4. Maybe I'll stick it a little bit longer. That's weird. The hook has lost its point on the bony things of the thing. So what I'm going to do is chop this worm up and chuck it in and put another hook on. So maybe I will stick a little bit longer on this. Well, I've got a new hook on now. I think it's got a longer hook length, so I might have to knock off 3 inches. That's the biggest so far. I think I've had eight perch now. It's gone straight under, just where I fed it as well. They come up and then they dive. Back to the stamp. There's an awful lot of perch down here. That one, it took it on the drop. It just hit the bottom, bobbed and straight under, and it's done it again. Maybe it just takes a critical amount of worms to draw up the shoal. God, they do. They're not very big fish. They pull well. This is the nicest bit of fishing I've had for a long time. Well, last time down on Throop catching roach and dace and a pike. These are pulling my string. I've had plenty of perch in the past on this stretch of the Stour, and never anything any great size on this bit. Further up I've had them to a couple of pounds, and down on Throop up to about 2.5 pounds. But they have come out of the Stour over 4 pounds. And there's big ones up on this end of the river as well as down on the Throop end. The perch seem to have gone underneath where I'm feeding them, so I cast straight out, a bit further out, whereas they started off down the swim and they've come to where those bits of worm. And once that scent's in there and they chomp them up a bit, and some of the times I'm catching a perch and there's no worm comes out, so it's probably let go of a chewed up worm. That scent seems to get them going. I think the new hooks, it's about, the lengths are meant to be the same, but it's not. I think it's a little bit too long, so I've just knocked off a few inches. A bit shallow. I seem to be dragging on too much again. I think any fishing, float fishing, you need to adjust the depth, even on swims that are staying the same level and fishing the same line, because the fish will vary. Sometimes they want it more over depth. It's been a short session today, fishing for perch instead of roach. I have had a roach and 10 perch. So quite enjoyable fishing with worms for a change instead of bread or maggots, or hemp and tares on the upper Stour. Fairly quiet up here, a little bit of traffic noise and other stuff, but more bird song than anything else in perfect conditions. Till next time, it's goodbye for now.